Friday prayers last week and escalated into violent clashes, resulting in the death of at least 3 people and injuries to several others. Situation came under control only after Calcutta High Court ordered the deployment of central forces to restore law and order. Violence was so severe and directed against Hindus so specifically that several Hindu families have had to flee the region. TMC and especially Mamata Banerjee have come under severe criticism for another barbaric showdown on the streets of Bengal. The state government has been directed to submit a detailed report on the violence by April 17 to the court. This unrest though only highlights the deep-seated tensions and challenges in balancing legislative changes or improvements with appeasement politics in India. For long, a condition had been set, an unspoken truth, that any legislation or even a Supreme Court order that goes against the sentiments of a few cannot be allowed in India. Or, in the name of those changes, violence can be perpetrated in India. Which is why, not just a legal challenge, several opposition parties have launched a scathing ground offensive, igniting passions of Muslims, inciting them to come to the streets virtually. A CAA-like situation is sought to be created, a pattern of same lies and obfuscation is visible. Will Waqf opposition also go the CAA way? We'll take that to our guests in just a bit. But first up, non-NDA ruled states have already voiced their opposition to the Waqf Amendment Act, so much so that many of them have announced that they will not let it get implemented in their state. It's a matter of debate whether they can stop it or not. West Bengal government, of course, has made it amply clear that the state will not implement the law. Still, violence is breaking out, particularly in West Bengal. Tamil Nadu has jumped onto the bandwagon, saying they believe the new act adversely affects the interests of Muslims. Karnataka maintains the act is not acceptable to them. Jharkhand has called it unconstitutional and undemocratic, and it was only a few days ago when Jammu and Kashmir Assembly erupted in a ruckus following the resolution against the Waqf Amendment Act. Furthermore, AIMIM has moved Supreme Court against the act, so has Congress MP Imran Masood. TMC parliamentarian Mahua Moitra has also knocked the doors of the Supreme Court. Actor Vijay's TVK has become the latest to join the legal bandwagon. National Conference has already filed a petition in the Supreme Court challenging the new act. Akhilesh Yadav-led Samajwadi Party has also moved the top court, and Apni Party from Jammu and Kashmir has also moved the top court. We would all agree that the legal route is the right way to move ahead. It's not that black and white though when it comes to the opposition, because despite a hearing scheduled in the top court, over all of these anti-Waqf Act petitions, attempts to provoke and incite have been plenty. In fact, Congress's own member of parliament, Imran Masood, who has gone to court of the Boti Boti fame, faced massive backlash after a video of his speech made headlines. In the video, the MP can be heard promising that the day Congress party comes to power, the act will be scrapped within an hour. Now one has to ask, how will they scrap the act in 1 hour, even if it's a new elected government? Will it be through parliament or some sort of farman? And will that be constitution or whims of power? Muslims are particularly being incited by claiming that not just their homes but also their mosques, their graveyards would be taken over due to this recent amendment. Let me show you why this is a convenient way to incite passions and actually has very little to do with the Waqf Act. Take a look at the violence-hit Murshidabad district in West Bengal itself. Of the 4,431 immovable properties registered under Waqf in this district, 4,197 or virtually 95% of that land is actually agricultural. There are only 64 mosques, 14 dargahs or mazars, 22 graveyards, only 1 Eidgah and 1 madrasa. This is the case in a Muslim majority district. So this whole claim that mosques and graveyards is the real reason this act has been passed or amendment is absolute canard. But the showdown continues unabated, and as protests and violence spread, the lobby is back at work again. It's an attempt to spread CAA-type misinformation on the Waqf Act too, and will it go that same route? That's the big question we're asking today.
अगर सच्चे अर्थ से आपके दिल में मुसलमानों के लिए थोड़ी भी हमदर्दी है, तो कांग्रेस पार्टी अपने पार्टी के अध्यक्ष मुसलमान को बनाए। इनकी नीयत किसी का भी भला करने की कभी नहीं रही, मुसलमानों का भला करने की भी नहीं रही।
जिस दिन हम सत्ता में आएंगे 1 घंटे के अंदर इसको उखाड़ के फेंक देंगे।
शरीयत मेरे लिए बड़ा, ठीक है। हम कुरान सीने में रखते हैं और हाथ में रखते हैं संविधान। मुसलमान कुरान सीने में और हाथ में संविधान लेके चलता है, ठीक है। तो हम पहले शरीयत को पकड़ेंगे, इसके बाद संविधान।
हैदराबाद दारुसलाम में 19 अप्रैल के दिन ऑल इंडिया मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ बोर्ड की जानिब से वक्फ अमेंडमेंट बिल 2025 के खिलाफ एक प्रोटेस्ट मीटिंग, पब्लिक मीटिंग रखी जा रही है।
एक्ट के खिलाफ हर लेवल पर, हर जगह पे प्रोटेस्ट होने चाहिए।
मैं आपको कहना चाहता हूं, सारे मुसलमान भाई भी मुझे सुनते होंगे, ये 39 लाख एकड़ भूमि हुई, इसमें से आर्गुमेंट करते खुद तो कब्रिस्तान है, खुद तो मस्जिद है, खुद तो दरगाह है, ये सब मिल मिलाकर 5% से ज्यादा नहीं।
Let's go across to our guest joining us, Siddharth Yadav, spokesperson of the BJP, with us, Arshpreet Kadyal of the Congress Party, Garga Chatterjee is General Secretary of Bangla Pokho, and Firoz Bakht Ahmed is former Chancellor, Maulana Azad National Urdu University, who's joining me in the studio. Firozji, why don't I begin with you? What do you have to say when you see what is happening in West Bengal? This has become a communal fight there, because while Muslims are angry at the law that has been passed by Parliament, they're attacking not just government properties, but we're seeing that this has become an attack on Hindus once again in West Bengal, to the extent that they're having to flee from their homes.
It's very heartrending and very sad, Shivani. First it started in J&K Assembly, now it is in West Bengal. One thing I am not able to understand in West Bengal is that Mamata Didi said that we will not follow this law, and after having said that, she should have told all those people who are coming on the roads, Hindus, Muslims, whosoever, she should tell them that nobody should take law into one's own hand, and nobody should come onto the roads, whether they are Muslims or anyone else, or the so-called secularists. Unfortunately, Mamata, I think whatever happened, I am saying very terse and very harsh words. Whatever is happening in West Bengal is happening at the behest of Mamata, the Chief Minister. It is state sponsored, and they are doing this thing so that some lives are lost, and they can force the Supreme Court to actually deliver some stay on this this amendment. So I think what I want to tell the government, if Modi ji is listening to me, is what he says he does. If he means some good for the Muslim community, he should also declare whether the case is there in Supreme Court or not. He should say that I am going to build a hostel for Muslim women, Muslim widows. I am going to build some modern madrasas and schools for Muslim children, and some hospitals, playgrounds, stadiums in the Muslim localities, because Congress all these years has built only thanas, police stations in Muslim localities, right?
Okay, whether the Prime Minister should be doing that or not is another debate, but
this is what we hope from
you
him.
hopes. Okay, all right. There is a Minority Affairs Ministry, maybe they can take this forward, but I do want to ask, Garga Chatterjee is also joining us. Is this what the society in Bengal is okay with? What has happened in Murshidabad, the fact that Hindus are having to flee, there are previous cases of these kinds. When Mamata Banerjee herself has said that she is not going to let this act get implemented in West Bengal, still violence has been witnessed only and only in West Bengal on this act?
First of all, there is not a single party in West Bengal which has not condemned the violence or which has supported the violence, and you did not see that some parties were leading it, number one. Secondly, we as an organization, Bangla Pokho, and every other political party in West Bengal, not only have condemned the violence, but we have to see that certain political parties in a tense situation, of course the situation has been tense, there's no doubt about it, and there has been a law and order failure in Shamsherganj, Shuti areas of Murshidabad. Whoever denies it is living in fool's paradise. There's only one party which is circulating these images, and one wonders whether they want a kind of spread or more incendiary situations. Number three, more than 150 people have been arrested. The area, Shamsherganj, which is worst affected, the MLA of that area, Khalilur Rahman, so he actually tried to kind of stop one of the big crowds, so-called anti-Waqf amendment, these mobs, I would call them mobs, not even crowds or gatherings. 14, 15, 16-year-old kids, I would say, mostly. And they did not listen, so they are not under any political control. So one has to really put the blame on people who do not have much political standing in West Bengal, okay? But due to these times of WhatsApp, etc., they're spreading not only misinformation, and as you correctly said, it's the Bengal Assembly did not pass this law. If you have to protest, go protest in Jantar Mantar. You know, the
So
parliament
why is
has
this
passed
happening in Bengal? The only other conclusion one can draw is that the state government has lost control.
State government briefly, of course, lost control in Shamsherganj and Shuti areas. Of course, you can understand these are large crowds of young people. If there was actually, total firing, now you would have 200 people killed. I mean, you can't have a Jallianwala Bagh just like that. But today, for example, you understand when things are coming, suddenly there's a party called the Indian Secular Front, which has one MLA, opposition MLA in the West Bengal Assembly. They brought out
some people on the street, yes.
Just a large procession.
Yes, just an hour earlier, there was a skirmish with the police of the ISF
exactly.
workers.
And you must have seen there, the police was, I wouldn't say brutal, but as these riot mongers should be treated, they were
Okay, so
beaten
Garga,
like
I understand. I think you are also, in a way, expressing the same helplessness that most people in Bengal have after looking at what has transpired over the weekend. I want to ask you one more question before I go to, once again, I want to ask you one more question before I go to the BJP, because I think you did hint that the BJP is circulating a lot of this material as if they want this fire to catch on elsewhere as well. I guess your hint was towards the BJP. But before I go to him, I want to ask you this. Is this not the scene today? Because repeatedly Mamata Banerjee as the Chief Minister has given open declaration that any kind of Muslim sentiment spilling onto the streets is justified, that there will be a free way for Islamists and fundamentalists of a particular kind, while all restrictions and all regard for safety and law and order must be portrayed from the other side. Is this not why this has happened?
Not quite. In fact, it's quite the opposite. An organization like us, when we want to take out a rally, we have to go to the police. The IB calls us, how many people will be there, get permissions, etc. If somebody happens to have a Jai Shri Ram or Allahu Akbar slogan, it's a free for all. The problem is in West Bengal, religion has been weaponized in such a way that if you have a cover of religion of some sort, you can basically bring out a rally and there's nobody to stop you. There's no permission needed. And last line, Siddiqullah Chaudhary, TMC leader, he has said a few days ago that he will bring Calcutta to a standstill.
Yes.
Arjun Singh, BJP leader, he has said he will bring in boys from UP, Bihar and Jharkhand. Okay, you have seen that ex-BJP, now TMC leader, this Humayun Kabir, he giving incendiary statements. You have had BJP Shukanto Majumdar saying people should take up arms. I mean, what is going on?
The only distinction there is that one party is in power and has been for 10 plus years, the other is not. So you cannot quite equate what an opposition leader, which you yourself say have no political basis in Bengal, their impact versus what the sitting chief minister or sitting ministers may say. But let me bring in Siddharth and Arshpreet as well. Siddharth, the accusation also has been that BJP is fanning the fires in Bengal because this helps you. This helps you in counter polarization. You are more happier than anybody else to see Bengal burn under Mamata Banerjee.
I think this statement is most unfortunate because if for anybody, any citizen of this country would not be happy when we see the pictures that are happening, what is happening in West Bengal. Today, West Bengal is being set to fire. It is being set to fire by state-sponsored actors. The Mamata Banerjee government is protecting such actors. We, as a political party, have lost our people. We have lost our karyakartas in the post-poll violence. We have lost our karyakartas fighting for justice. We have lost our karyakartas fighting for the rule of constitution in the West Bengal. So if someone comes out and says that images are being circulated and because images are being circulated, that is the one to blame, I think this is most unfortunate.
No, absolutely.
Mamata
I agree
Banerjee
with
has-
that. On that point, I have to come in.
and-
What is happening in Murshidabad, in all of these areas, has to be taken to the rest of the country and has to be taken to
Absolutely.
the world. It cannot be that
Absolutely.
because this is West Bengal and for some reason there should be no reportage, etc. I am so amazed that the rules of engagement are changed so easily. If this was happening in any other state, the media would be asked to go and cover, right? Would be implored to go and cover and tell us what is happening then. That's exactly what the media's job is.
Absolutely, and the opposition leaders would be jumping in Delhi, from Delhi to Lucknow to Tamil Nadu. Everybody would be jumping and saying, "See, such photos are coming, such images are coming." Everybody would be commenting, everybody would be tweeting. But since this is happening to Hindus in Murshidabad, no comment. There is no outrage, nothing doing. Mamata Banerjee has lost the state. She has lost it. She's planning to make the entire state a Waqf property, and I think this is most unfortunate.
Mamata has communalized.
Mamata Banerjee has just supported all such actors. The ministers of the Mamata Banerjee government is coming out and saying that we are in large numbers out on the streets, and Didi is happy with that. What is Didi happy with? People are losing their lives. People are forced to flee. People are being burnt alive. Women are being taken away, and this is happening on a constant,
And despite
continuous
the
basis.
very direct
Let me
outreach
add.
that Mamata Banerjee has with the Muslim community and the leaders in West Bengal, I'm wondering how come nobody is listening to her?
Quite
Yes.
interestingly,
People are actually.
I'll just
support
one
you.
second. Yes, Siddharth.
I'll just take 5 seconds.
Okay.
I do not agree that people and Muslim leaders are not listening to her. I say they are. People are listening to her. The rioters are listening to her. Whatever is happening on the streets of Murshidabad is sponsored by Mamata Banerjee because for her the so-called politics that she wants to do in West Bengal, and it is most unfortunate that a political leader has stooped down to such a level because of the desperation
All right,
that she has.
Yes,
all right,
very quickly, Arshad.
Siddharth, what you have said is very alarming. Actually, what you have said is that for the last 10 years, it is Mamata Didi who is fanning communal fires. People blame this Sarkar, Modi Sarkar, that they are doing Hindu-Muslim. In fact, this Sarkar is not doing Hindu-Muslim. What is happening today in West Bengal, in fact, this blame goes to Mamata Didi and her cohorts who are running a government, right? The way they have communalized the situation, truly in West Bengal, they have made it a Hindu-Muslim conflict, which I think
Instead of a
it is
Muslim
very
issue,
wrong to
this has become a Muslim versus Hindu
blame
issue.
the central government. It must be done away with.
No, my point is there are communal issues. There's nothing wrong with a communal issue or being communal. Communal just means it pertains to a community, and everybody has the right to bat for those issues that pertain to your community. But nobody has the right to hold the entire country to ransom with violence on the basis of communal issues. It's as simple as that. And is there a tendency to give an open hand to Islamists in West Bengal is the central point here. Ashpreet, I want to come to you as well. The Congress party has been hammer and tongs since the campaigning for the last general elections about the constitution. You've got your own leader who has a pretty dubious past as far as his statements are concerned, Imran Masood, saying that when we come to power, we will scrap this act in 1 hour. Now, I want to understand which constitutional mechanism allows
Easier said
any
than
government done. No, forget about whether it can be done or not. Which constitutional mechanism allows any government to scrap an act passed by the parliament in under 1 hour? You tell me.
Thank you. Kindly allow me a minute uninterrupted. Number one, when the Bharatiya Janata Party, because a couple of Bharatiya Janata Party's leaders have also asked this question, the Bharatiya Janata Party would have led by example and could have told which law, which provision of the constitution allows them to bypass the orders of the Supreme Court. When the Supreme Court said, make the Chief Justice a part of the appointment committee of Election Commission, they bypassed it. When the Supreme Court has brought in a change, they have bypassed it.
But in
Number
Parliament,
two,
right?
If I may,
Via Parliament.
Is that justified? Is that
Do you accept that this Imran Masood is a rebel rouser, and at one time he threatened Modi to tear him into pieces? He is a rebel rouser.
One second.
Hear me. I did not interrupt you. Please have the decency.
All right, please.
to hear
Sorry,
me.
go ahead.
Number one, let's understand this, that if the Bharatiya Janata Party had done their duty, had done their job, instead of excluding, had included everyone, had consulted the stakeholders, instead of bulldozing their way through a JPC, would have debated and discussed and taken everyone to the loop.
Bill through JPC is bulldozing.
This wouldn't have happened in the first place. It is a violation of Article 14. It is a violation of Article 25. It is a violation of Article 26.
Ashpreet, you're going in circles. I am not asking for your justification. Sir, one second. I am not asking for your justifications against the act. You may have cudgels against it. You are more than welcome to go to court. In fact, Imran Masood has gone to court. Imran Masood has gone to court. I am asking you, as an elected representative, is it right for him to stoke passions by saying when we come to power, we will scrap it in 1 hour? What constitutionality is that?
Why didn't Imran
Let him answer. Let him answer.
When
He has gone to court.
Let him answer. Wherever people like Akbar Ahmed Dumpy, he goes the land of Waqf. At that time, nobody went to the court.
Ashpreet. Yes, Ashpreet.
Shivani, this is not fair. I did not interrupt him once. He has already interrupted me thrice. Please ask him to have the decency to hear other people as well. The fact of the matter is that this law will be struck down by the Honorable Supreme Court before that because of the violations that it
So
is
it's
doing.
okay for Imran Masood to say this?
If I may, was it okay for the Bharatiya Janata Party to bypass the orders of the Supreme Court to do exactly the opposite of what the Honorable Chief Justice said? Was it justified of the Bharatiya Janata Party to have undermined so many orders of the Supreme Court back to back? Number two, now the Bharatiya Janata Party has been setting up a lot of precedents. When we question anyone, the first party that should be questioned is the government. Number two, is it not a fact, Shivani, that Article 14, 25, 26, 29, 30 and 246 are being violated? Fundamental rights are being violated. And please, the Bharatiya Janata Party could tell me one thing.
You're not answering my question.
Just one thing, Shivani, just one important question. When a JPC happens, it has never ever happened that a clause by clause discussion is avoided. But this time it was avoided. In the Parliament also, 450 pages.
All of your objections taken on record. But you've repeated the same thing you said the first time around. You're not answering my question.
I did not.
A party that talks
This is
about
exactly the opposite of
constitution day in, day out is saying कि 1 घंटे में हम हटा देंगे. किस प्रोविजन के अंदर हटाएंगे ये भी तो बताइए ना. I'm asking you again and again.
सवाल है आपसे गार्गा चैटर्जी.
Which constitutional provision
पहले
allows
तो उनके सवाल का
if
जवाब
Supreme
दो.
Court, one second, if Supreme Court orders have been done away by the government, your government also has, your Congress governments also have history and precedent where they overturned or nullified a Supreme Court judgment. So let's not get into that. My question is, which constitutional provision allows for scrapping an order in 1 hour?
ये आपके सवाल का जवाब
What kind of government is that?
छोटा सा सवाल मैं पूछ लूँ
One second, sir. One second. वो constitutional government है क्या? 1 घंटे में हटा देंगे?
I'll tell you something.
No, you've spoken.
No,
You've
एक
spoken.
छोटा सवाल मैं पूछ रहा हूँ.
Siddharth.
गार्गा चैटर्जी साहब.
Before you go to him, Siddharth wants to come.
Okay.
Constitutionality is so easy to be spoken of, but when you want to rabble rouse, nobody cares about the constitution anymore. Nobody cares about the fact that Parliament has to pass a law.
Shivani, I think my friend Ashpreet is a big fan of the factory jalebis that Rahul Gandhi was trying to sell in Haryana, and that is why, to answer your question, he is just making jalebis and jalebis. Ashpreet, I did not speak while you were speaking. Please have the courtesy. You were teaching this to the other co-panelists. Please have the courtesy. Now, what's most important is, because my friend did not have an argument to answer the question, he thrice said something which was very factually incorrect, and I intend to correct that. The Honorable Supreme Court, in the case of appointment of an election commissioner, said that the Chief Justice is only going to be in the panel until the Parliament makes a law. Until the Parliament makes a law.
That's just tip of the iceberg.
And the Parliament made a law. The Congress government appointed election commissioners in this country without even a leader of opposition. Forget the Chief Justice of the country. So do not bring these arguments when you are unable to answer questions. This is point number one. Point number two, you are taking constitution everywhere in all protests. But the constitution is being murdered in Murshidabad. Your leaders are saying we'll scrap it away in 1 hour. Everything's down in the drain. You have no comment. Nothing. No one-liner, a tweet, a comment, a bite, anything of what violence is happening in West Bengal. What is the compulsion? What binds you? What is that is holding the Congress party back? Is that the same old appeasement politics that you rely upon? Is that the same old your minority
Why could not take
Muslim
everyone into the
संसाधनों
loop?
पर पहला
Why do you have
अधिकार
to
है?
violate the
Is that the
constitution?
same politics? Because if it
सिद्धार्थ,
is
एक छोटा
today,
सवाल
our
पूछ लूं मैं
country is
इनसे,
in a very sad
गारगा साहब
state
से।
because of that.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
हाँ, नहीं, गारगा साहब, जस्ट एक छोटा सा सवाल है आपसे। अभी ये इन्होंने भी कहा सिद्धार्थ ने कि आप जलेबियां घुमा रहे हैं। छोटा सा सवाल ये, वेरी स्मॉल क्वेश्चन।
In English with him, please.
Okay, sure. You see, Shivani asked the question, say something like in chemistry, and you answered in geography. My very straightforward question with you is, Garga Sahab, don't you think that this kind of a parliamentarian MP, that is Imran Masood, is he not defiling your party? The way, he is communalist. He says that in 1 hour he will scrape this law which actually has been passed by the parliament. Now he wanted to cut Modi into pieces. He is not a good parliamentarian. Can you answer?
No,
is he not a communalist?
It's not his party. That question goes to Arshpreet. The same question I was asking. Forget about the background of Imran Masood. What kind of value or what kind of value is he placing in the process of the constitution if he goes to his constituents and says things like this? Okay, once again, Arshpreet,
What kind of value?
we'll give you 45 seconds uninterrupted to answer. Only Arshpreet and I, please.
क्या एक जिम्मेदार पार्लियामेंटेरियन को
Sir, now let's not interrupt him. Now let's not interrupt him, please.
Sure.
Thank you. I hope he'll hear you after the third request to me too.
Go ahead.
The fact of the matter is, Shivani, that when you pose a question like this, the Bharatiya Janata Party's leader, while elections were on, while he was campaigning, and said, जिनके बच्चे ज्यादा होते हैं, घुसपैठी घुसे हुए हैं.
Let him speak.
Which provision in the constitution or in any other law, any other statute allows for that leader to make such a statement? Was any action taken against him? There were thousands of complaints filed against that very leader. What has been done? And that leader is...
Your basic argument is tit for tat. They did it. We are also doing it. Don't ask us questions. Okay, fine.
The questions are asked to the government. The questions are not asked to the opposition. The questions foremost are to be asked to the government as to why such statements are being made, what is the objective of it, and why has the Bharatiya Janata Party's leader gone scot-free despite such a statement? That's what we need to ask. And when they ask for a law, when they ask for a provision, the Bharatiya Janata Party did not have the power to violate all these articles that I've referred to.
I'm asking you about Congress, you keep talking about BJP. I don't understand this. How do I ask you anything?
Why not? They are in the government. Why would I not talk about them?
No, your party is in power in many states. Have you forgotten?
You are
and law and order is a state subject. Have you forgotten? We are discussing West Bengal today. Who are we asking questions? State government. Have you forgotten? What do you mean? You're not in central government. You're not in central government, so there should be no rules that should apply to you. There should be no modesty that should be applied to you in public life. The answer is not that we are not in power.
You have not answered even a single question by Shivani.
Let me ask the question. Garga Chatterjee, I want to come back to Bengal. Would you at all concede that some of the policies of the TMC-led Bengal government, where they are accused of appeasing Islamist forces, I will not even say Muslims, but Islamist forces, fundamentalist Muslims and clergy, that is coming back to haunt Bengal today?
So I would like to speak uninterruptedly because I did not interrupt anyone. I'm not used to these kind of melees. So if you look at, for example, TMC stands for Muslims, BJP stands for Hindus, this sort of an easy binary. If you look at electoral data, for example, if you have seats in West Bengal which have more than 90% Hindus, most of them are won by the Trinamool Congress. These are just facts, okay? If you look at Muslim majority districts in West Bengal, Malda, for example, okay, if you look at the latest election, the Lok Sabha election, there are 3 seats in Malda. 2 of them were lost by the Trinamool.
Okay.
Trinamool only won 1 out of 3. Okay. So this whole idea that, these mass of Muslims, they vote for the Trinamool, and these mass of Hindus who vote for the BJP, it's just data does not bear it out.
No, actually the mass of Hindus don't vote for the BJP. That's exactly the contention here. And you've actually set up by...
Let me finish the point.
Okay.
One
second, sir, not like this. Not over each other, please. Not like this. Yes,
not only that, seats with more than 90% Hindus, most of them, there's no Muslim factor there. Secondly, there was a talk about, how can somebody pass after overturn something within 1 hour, etc. I'm pretty appalled that no answer came from this. There's a constitutional mechanism called ordinance, okay, and the BJP uses it all the time.
I'll
It's
just make a
very easy.
correction of
Somebody is
what
sitting with
just you said.
with a set of
One
law
second.
books
Okay, okay.
behind him. Third point, when you say that the Congress is completely absent from this whole thing, that's not true. Isha Khan Chaudhary, who is the MP of that area of South Malda, he wanted to visit. He's very active on the ground. So let's not, just sitting in Delhi, please don't judge MPs of Bengal what they are doing on the ground. Okay, it's an MP from Bengal. He's doing this all the time.
Okay. No, sir, one second. No, not like this.
I wish
Please.
to speak.
Yes, Siddharth, very quickly, 30 seconds.
Yes, Shivani, first of all, on what Ashpreet was saying, I wish to ask you, how dare you ask a question to the opposition? That is not allowed in our democracy. Today, you can't ask any questions to the opposition. So please do not, next time, do not ask any questions to the Congress party, because they have to go scot-free. They can say that we'll burn the entire country. They will ask jatis of everybody. They'll burn down the constitution. They can do anything, but don't ask them questions. But I wish to just place one fact before your viewers. Out of the 22 MLAs, in the violence affected districts in West Bengal, where currently this is happening, 20 belong to the TMC. 20 belong to the TMC. How many are going on the ground? 2 MPs. One of TMC, one of Congress. How many are going on the ground? Why is it so that where TMC MLAs are more, where TMC has more support base, such violence happens? Why is that? Because it is the TMC and the Mamata Banerjee government that is orchestrating this entire plan. And
well,
what is happening on the ground?
Districts where violence breaks out again and again can also not be dismissed. But I've run out of time. I do have to say that what Garga talked about actually sets up... No, sir, sorry. What he talked about sets up my second debate very well, because we are going to look at exactly this. What is the impact that the Murshidabad violence is going to have on the politics of West Bengal? Is it finally at a political tipping point? Is Mamata Banerjee losing the grip when these incidents keep happening again and again? That's coming up in just a minute.
Mama must
Hello, my name is Todd Inman. We had an NTSB GO team that arrived in Albany, New York last night. We're beginning the investigation into a fatal crash involving a Mitsubishi MU-2B40 aircraft in the area. Now, before I go any further, on behalf of everyone at the NTSB, I want to express our sincere condolences for the families, the survivors of the families, and everyone who knew someone that perished in this accident. We're truly sorry. On April 12th, at approximately 12:06 Eastern Daylight Time, a Mitsubishi MU-2B40 with tail number November 635 Tango Alpha crashed 10 miles from the Columbia County Airport. This occurred near State Route 23 and Two Town Road. The flight was being operated as a Part 91 flight. The aircraft had departed Westchester County Airport, airport code HPN, when a crash occurred in what we would call a flat agricultural field. The NTSB does not release information in regard to anyone who may be a victim of any of these accidents. That will be solely left to the county coroner's office. We will not release that in any way, shape, or form. So the question was again about the number of people or fatalities. I can tell you that we have verified there were 6 people on board. I can say that all 6 were removed from the scene. We have no one hospitalized at this time. Any other questions regarding that, I would, again, local authorities and the county coroner. The scene is approximately 100 yards in length, with the aircraft being compressed, buckled, and embedded into the terrain. Now we have recovered and obtained at this point a video of the actual crash in the final seconds. The video, as we've seen in just in the last hour, we were able to
In a first since 2011, Bengal police fired rounds at the recent mob and admitted it. The violence in Murshidabad, Suti, Samseganj and Dhulyan, sparked by protest over the Waqf Amendment Act, has claimed at least 3 lives, including a Hindu father and son, Hargobindo Das and Chandan Das, brutally hacked to death in Jafrabad. Such was the fury of the Muslim mobs post-Friday prayers that police had to admit that they were not listening to them and destroying government property along with hurting police officers. On Saturday, DG Rajiv Kumar clearly stated that violence will not be tolerated and anybody who incites people or tries to take law in their hands will be strictly dealt with. Police is now trying to control the exodus of Hindu families from these areas. Even TMC politicians, local MPs and MLAs have been taken aback by the violence and the scale of it. Several of them spoke to the media and appealed for calm even on video messages. All of this points to the fact that even the ruling TMC is unsure of how to handle radical and violent elements of society and are feeling the pinch of the situation. Is this a tipping point, politically saying, in West Bengal? Here's why it seems like it is. Anti-incumbency is growing, as it would naturally, because Mamata Banerjee is in her 3rd successive term. The law and order situation has come under question in Bengal time and time again. The Islamic takeover of Bangladesh has hit the mindset of the Bengali society as well. Hindus suffering at the hands of Muslim mobs have become an everyday affair in the state. Even this recent violence has been targeted against Hindus. And corruption and the lack of development is only adding to the woes of the public. Now, the BJP is not leaving any stone unturned or anything unsaid while turning the screws on the failure of the Mamata government. Take a look at some of their recent tweets. Bengal BJP tweeted, and I quote, "Let's not sugarcoat this. What's unfolding in Murshidabad reeks of an orchestrated demographic invasion. Mamata isn't just looking away, she's greasing the wheels of a jihadist agenda that mirrors Bangladesh fantasy long pushed by radical elements across the border." Another one reads, "Bengal has been reduced to ashes and Mamata stands laughing with the arsonists. From riots to Waqf land grabs, this isn't governance, it's jihad." Another tweet reads, and I quote, "To the Hindus still backing TMC, left and Congress, are you blind, spineless or just complicit in your own erasure?" Questioning the electorate so directly is something political parties often shy away from. But here it is clear that they want to turn the Hindu voters away from Mamata Banerjee, who may be fed up with the routine law and order flare-ups. BJP Bengal co-in-charge Amit Malviya has also recently tweeted saying, pointing to Mamata Banerjee, she is silently enabling the early stages of Ghazwa-e-Hind, aiding jihadist forces in realizing their dream of carving out an Islamic Bangladesh, a vision long claimed by Bangladeshi militants. Now, TMC's own were seen pleading to Muslims to not take law and order into their hands. The reaction of the ruling party's members possibly gives an indication that they themselves feel helpless and unable to control the situation. Are the violent mobs in Bengal out of Mamata Banerjee's control then?
কেউ কেউ চায় বাংলায় যাতে আগুন জ্বলে। আমি সকলকে অনুরোধ করব বাংলার কৃষ্টি সংস্কৃতি বজায় রেখে আমাদের এলাকার শান্তি শৃঙ্খলা এবং সম্প্রীতি যাতে অক্ষুণ্ণ থাকে, আমাদের প্রত্যেককে সজাগ থাকতে হবে, সচেতন থাকতে হবে।
নমস্কার, আমি কৃষ্ণনগরের এমপি মহুয়া মৈত্র বলছি। আমি সমস্ত মুসলিম ভাই বোনদের কাছে একটি আবেদন করতে চাই যে আপনারা প্লিজ এখন এই ওয়াকফ সংশোধনী অ্যাক্টের পরে বাংলায় যা একটু আমরা অসন্তোষ আবেগ যা প্রকাশ হচ্ছে, আপনাদের আমরা হাতজোড় করে আবেদন করছি আপনারা প্লিজ সংযত হন। পশ্চিমবঙ্গ সরকার, আমাদের তৃণমূল পার্টি এবং মমতা ব্যানার্জি আপনাদের সাথে দাঁড়িয়ে রয়েছে।
Receiving some inputs and allegations that there was a larger conspiracy behind those incidents.
That's the big debate coming up with some experts. Is Mamata Banerjee losing the grip in Bengal?
सेंट्रल फोर्सेस के तैनाती होने के बाद स्थिति में थोड़ा थोड़ा सुधार आया है, लेकिन मुझे लगता है अभी भी स्थिति ऐसी नहीं है कि जहां पे हिंदू सर उठा के जी सके, फ्रीडम के साथ जी सके, अपनी रिलीजियस जो आइडेंटिटी है उसके साथ जी सके।
कल किया हम देखा जो पूरा कठोर होगा। एक घटना घट गई है, उसको लेके ऐसा कुछ नहीं होना चाहिए।
लेकिन जो ढोंग करती है ना बंगाल की मुख्यमंत्री, ये जो ढोंग करते जो सामने एक आवरण रख रही है कि वो सेकुलर है, लेकिन उसका ये धजिया भी निकलने लगी।
हम लोग को दुकान तोड़ दिया है, आदमी को मार काट दिया है, ये सब तोड़ दिया है, ये सब चोरा के ले गया, लूटपाट करके ले गया सब कुछ। हम लोग का एक तो घर में जनाना आदमी सब छोटा लड़का बच्चा है हम लोग का, कैसे घर में रह के चाकू छुरी लेके घर में घुस जाके मार रहा है। हम लोग क्या करेंगे, कहाँ जाएंगे हम लोग, बताइए। हम लोग
जो पार्क था, एसीमार है, लॉज, ये भी तोड़ दिया है। इधर मामा का दुकान है और भी पुराना डाबाना जो है वहाँ पे मामा का दुकान है, उधर भी तोड़ फोड़ दिया है। बहुत जो दुकान में जो सामान था वो सब लेके चला गया है। आग भी लगा दिया है दुकान में जो भी था।
उसमें क्या है, बहुत आंदोलन किया है। आंदोलन के बाहर उसे क्या है, अगर हिंदू के घर में जाके लूटपाट किया है, महिला का रेप किया है और बॉम्ब जो है बॉम्बिंग किया हो और घर को जला दिया।
I'm joined by two noted journalists who track Bengal politics very closely. Shikha Mukherjee is joining us, also Pratim Ranjan Bose. I'm also joined in our studios with Aman Sharma, News 18 political editor. Shikha ji, let me begin with you. Would it be fair to say that the Bhadralok of Bengal are finally fed up with the kind of law and order situation that exists in Bengal?
Yeah, I think they are fed up with a lot more. Not just the law and order situation. There is much more that is making them very annoyed. And this is the Bhadralok electorate that you're talking about. But there is also another electorate which one has to realize is numerically larger. And how that electorate looks at the whole situation is something that one will have to wait and watch. Number two, is the situation in West Bengal really going out of hand? That is the question. Effectively, that is the question that you're asking. Well, at this point in time, the situation seems to have been brought under control. Now, that is a positive because one wants normalcy to return. Normalcy is not going to return in 2 days or in 48 hours or in 72 hours. It's going to take more time because there is an overheated environment in the state where the message that has been like a war cry for the BJP in particular is Hindu Khatre mein hai. And this whole politics of memory, immigration, and a constant, consistent sort of flagging of the issue at every point has become the stage within which West Bengal politics is today played.
You said that there's an electorate that's numerically larger. Which way they go remains to be seen. Can you expand on that? Who are you talking about?
I am talking about those who are not from the Bhadralok classes. And that is the numerically larger population.
But from what I understand, even the Bhadralok don't like BJP in Bengal.
That's true.
But they are fed up of Mamata Banerjee.
But they are fed up of Mamata Banerjee. A large section of the Bhadralok in specific areas are certainly voting for the BJP. They have voted for the BJP in 2016. They voted for it in the 2021 elections. They voted for it in 2024. So there is a section there which is voting. And there is also this numerically larger group, that is the people who are at the margin, who are economically vulnerable.
So that section Mamata Banerjee has properly still secured, you're saying?
That remains to be seen. That was so. It seems there is also a kind of speculation that the Muslim vote, part of it may have shifted away from her because they are upset with her usage of them as a vote bank.
Okay.
That is a narrative that we are hearing. However, all of this remains to be tested because in the 2024 Lok Sabha election, this did not seem to play out.
Yes, absolutely. So the BJP's vote share graph has been growing quite steadily. They did very well in one assembly election and one Lok Sabha election. But since then, it stagnated, or at least in the last election.
It's actually come down.
Yeah, it's come down by a bit, but it has not grown beyond that. Was that an aberration or not? We'll wait and see, because overall the 2024 numbers weren't that great for the BJP. But before I go to Aman on their strategy, I want to bring in Pratim Ranjan Bose as well. What do you make of what is happening? Is there a churn in the way Bengal politics is perceived on ground. 30 years of left rule, it took a while for people to turn against them. Mamata Banerjee is going to complete 15 years in power successively. What do you think is in store for her?
It is witnessing multiple churns, not a unidirectional or one singular churn. It is moving in every direction. Number one, for example, what Shikhadi was talking about is, the so-called subalterns voting for BJP, etc., the Bhadraloks. See, the grip of Bhadraloks has been loosening over these 40, 50 years. There are various reasons for that. One specific social reason is, one is that look at the total fertility rate of the state, and particularly Kolkata. It was Kolkata which was ruling the rest of the state. And as the fertility rate has gone down, now it is close to 1.1 in the city, which is, I think, as good as or as low as Taiwan. So, you have lost it. And your younger generation is out of the state. So there are many reasons for that, and if I go by politically, see the whole left movement or whatever was on the subalterns that they will come up, but in reality, left upper class was holding on the stuff, and what we have distinctly saw in last 10-15 years is this is social side of the story, is that a kind of a political empowerment of the down under.
Sure.
And there is a serious gap in things. But this is one very social issues, and I think it needs a deeper discussion. What is there?
So I'll just ask you point blank. In my previous debate, Garga Chatterjee, who's also following Bengal politics, was saying it's not just the Muslims who vote for Mamata Banerjee. In areas which are predominantly Hindu majority, TMC gets voted in again and again. So the question here is this: while Muslims may not vote for the BJP, Hindus vote for the TMC. After what is transpiring in West Bengal again and again and again and again, you look at Sandesh Khali, you look at Murshidabad, you just look at the demographic change in border areas, etc. Are Hindus in Bengal going to look at politics like this? That we are going to be, marginalized if we keep TMC in power?
No. Hindus have decided that. If I look at the voting pattern for last 3-4 elections, very clear. Trinamool is living on 15% of Hindu votes, and the rest all are Muslim votes. And the Hindu vote has been consolidating. There is Hindu vote consolidated, the middle class vote. Particularly middle class vote. I mean, let us not look at the subaltern theory very seriously, because West Bengal has always had very large scheduled caste population, right? So it has to be that way only. And this, if you just go to the rurals, the middle class had gone out of TMC quite, at least 4-5 years
The recent election results, someone don't seem to suggest that. It seems to suggest that Mamata Banerjee is still pretty much in control.
She is in
control. No, Mamata Banerjee is in control. But that doesn't mean that the Hindu vote share has come down. I mean, we haven't gone into the polling data as well. Polling means the two sides poll differently.
Okay.
In Calcutta, the polling ratio is as low as 50, if not lower at some places.
Okay, I get your point. Yes, Aman.
See, Shivani, I would like to say that violence against Hindus in Bengal has been happening consistently over the last some years. We have all seen the post-poll violence after the 2021 West Bengal elections, and now even various other incidents had happened. Even in this present incident, we have seen that the central forces were sent to the riot-affected areas by the court.
Yes.
West Bengal government did not requisition the central forces. In fact, a senior BJP leader had to plead to the court to send central forces there, and once the central forces reached there, you see the violence has stopped. So this is a very, a giveaway on what really is happening in West Bengal. What I think has changed in this particular case is that earlier also the BJP has been saying again and again that there is a deliberate campaign against the Hindus in Bengal. But this time I'm seeing, especially in the tweets which are coming, the messages which are coming, the statements which are coming from the Bengal BJP leaders and even some in the central leadership, is a direct appeal to the Hindus that look, if you don't vote for us, you will suffer again and again because of this. The 27% Muslim vote is there in Bengal which votes for Mamata Banerjee, but she comes to power also because a considerable number of Hindus also vote for her. If you keep voting for her, this will happen to you. And I
Yeah,
think the
which is-
brazenness this time, Shivani, is also there because I think the new factor in this violence, I think, is the Bangladesh factor. You know, what has happened in Bangladesh 3 to 4 months back, Bangladesh has a big impact on Bengal, and the BJP is now trying to tell the Hindus of Bengal that you may suffer the fate of Bangladeshi Hindus in minority areas of West Bengal if you don't come to us. And you know, some BJP leaders have even said that Mamata Banerjee is converting certain Muslim dominated areas of West Bengal into Bangladesh, so that, you know, that equivalence has very much come in. I think BJP is hoping, Shivani, this time that the Hindus this time will have an impact. What is happening in Bangladesh will have an impact on them. And this particular violence is reiterating BJP's point that Hindus need to consolidate and vote for the BJP, because 27% of Muslims may vote in mass for the Trinamool Congress, but there are 62% Hindus whom half of them won't even turn up to vote, and even then the other half which turns up to vote, half of that may even vote for the TMC. So the BJP does not have a chance in West Bengal till Hindu consolidation does not happen. We have seen that in Assam, where there are even more Muslims than West Bengal, 30% plus, but BJP has managed to come to power.
It's also the impact of the law and order, quote unquote, law and order model that BJP is able to present, right? Earlier they may have not had that model, but now that model exists in Assam. It exists in Uttar Pradesh, which has a substantial Muslim population. It doesn't see this kind of rioting, this kind of in-your-face clashes, no matter what the provocation, and certainly no Hindu-Muslim kind of rioting anymore.
Absolutely.
And you know, more and more people across the country would yearn for that kind of safety is, primary for most voters. Everything else comes after that.
BJP cited the Assam model. In fact, this time they said that, you know, Assam, which has even higher Muslim population than proportion than West Bengal, did not see any rioting over the the Waqf bill protests. So there has been no protests, or it's been much better handled in Assam because the political leadership does not handle it better. So this long-standing notion that no riot will happen unless the police wants it to happen seems very, very true in the case of what the BJP is saying, that our model is there in UP. There's been no rioting in UP so far, for example, over the Waqf bill. Why only in Bengal? And why only in two particular areas of Bengal? That is what the BJP is trying to tell the Hindu voters of West Bengal.
Shikha, very quickly, you talked about this whole narrative of Hindu khatre mein hai. Surely this narrative is blown out of proportion many times. But would you not concede that the way things are going in West Bengal, the demographic change, etc., it is a matter of concern? In Sandesh Khali, there was an element of Muslim leaders predominantly abusing Hindu women, etc. There have been cases where Hindus have had to migrate earlier as well, post-elections. So why shouldn't they believe this narrative?
Okay, Shivani, let's separate two things. One is that communal rioting causing people to relocate. This is a kind of forced relocation. That is one kind of problem. Political violence forcing people to relocate is a different kind of violence.
But even that was directed against Hindus, unfortunately, in Bengal.
No, it has nothing to do with Hindus. It has political violence where populations are relocate themselves, go into camps, seek shelter, has been part of West Bengal's politics for a very long time. And this has nothing to do with Hindu or Muslim.
Okay.
It has everything to do with political violence. So there are two kinds of things that we're dealing with. The second one is, as a response to communal rioting, the relocation of people from one place to another. Now, if you look at the Murshidabad numbers, it is a few hundred, about 200 families. Now, that's not a very large population. If you look at the total size of the district and you look at the total number of people who live there, 27 with more than 70% Muslims in that area.
Exactly the point, that Muslims are in majority in that area. So the minority is suffering. If it was to happen anywhere else, it would raise eyebrows.
No, please, may I finish?
Yeah.
There are certain districts which have been Muslim majority in West Bengal for a very long time. Okay. Murshidabad, Malda, West Dinajpur, North Dinajpur being one of them. Now, and also North Chobbish Pargana has a very sizable Muslim population. Now, if you look at it, it's Murshidabad and Malda where this particular problem has emerged.
Yes.
Malda, because there is a spin-off effect from Murshidabad onto Malda always. It happens in elections. It happens in terms of social exchanges. Everything.
Okay.
The second area is a specific part of North 24 Parganas, Bhangar. One particular constituency.
No, so whichever way we may look at it, the question is...
Whichever way you slice it, you need to be very clear that this is a location specific, and because, as Aman very correctly pointed out, Bangladesh has always been a part of West Bengal's domestic politics. If you look at all the sustained campaigns over a period of time, immigration, demographic invasion, the majority becoming a minority, this is a narrative which has been consistently...
Absolutely. Which is why one wonders whether this time around they're going to have an impact on the psyche of the Bengal voter, because it cannot be left completely away or in isolation with the rest of the country. The rest of the country's mood, progress affects people in West Bengal as well. But focusing on the violence, I want to go across to my colleague Kamalika, who's joining us live from Bhangar now, which was the latest spot of clashes that took place. Kamalika, over to you.
See, right now we are standing in that Shonpur Bazaar where the incident took place in the evening, today in the morning. From today in the morning, things were not right in Bhangar. First, let me show you that this is the prison van which has been brutally vandalized, and you can see that the firefighting people are now here. All the stone pelting has also taken place, and you can see that how, this is the way things have been. The miscreants have vandalized the entire prison car. It is broken, and not only that, 5 bikes have also been broken. One police car has been set on fire. One police person has been injured, and the 2 people have been arrested. Behind me is the crane. This bikes are now being taken by the crane, and lot of stones are there on the road, which shows that what has happened today in the evening. But again, like to show that this is the condition. This is the condition of the police prison van, which has
Thankfully,
been
the situation has been brought under some control, but scenes like this are still erupting sporadically. We'll keep going back to West Bengal for the ground report. Time for a very short break. The Right Stand is coming up next.
Co-powered by
Hello, my name is Todd Inman. We had an NTSB GO team that arrived in Albany, New York last night. We're beginning the investigation into a fatal crash involving a Mitsubishi MU-2B40 aircraft in the area. Now, before I go any further, on behalf of everyone at the NTSB, I want to express our sincere condolences for the families, the survivors of the families, and everyone who knew someone that perished in this accident. We're truly sorry.